Hello and welcome back to the GB Fantasy Football channel. In today's video, it is the big differential ahead of the Gameweek 20 deadline. Every player in today's episode under 10% ownership for those maximum gains in the rankings. If you do enjoy today's content, be sure to smash the subscribe button down below. We are on the road to 1,500, the big target on the channel. We're so close now. So if you could go ahead and smash it completely free, that would be greatly appreciated. And without further ado, let's crack on with the content. First up on today's list are the goalkeepers. We've got five choices. We've got Vicario, Donnarumma, Sanchez of Chelsea, Alisson and Matt Sells of Nottingham Forest. Now, if you do enjoy today's content, be sure to smash a thumbs up as well. 100 is the target on the channel. Now, Vicario is first up, 9.4% ownership, 3.1 million in price, 36 save points. Clearly, that Tottenham defence bit leaky at the back. 36 goals conceded for this season, 131 points. I think that puts him currently the second highest point scoring goalkeeper on the game, and 4.7 average points per game. You can probably tell there's a little bit of a trend on this list between the goalkeepers, not necessarily the price, but the average points that they're amassing per game, bar one goalkeeper, and that is Matt Sells. He's 3.2% owned, 3 million in price, 23 save points, so still a decent chunk of save points. 36 goals conceded though, and that Nottingham Forest defence and side in general has not been the same as it was last season. 61 total points, and he is the only goalkeeper on this list that averages under 4.5 average points per game. He's got 2.9 average ones. Next up, Donnarumma of Manchester City. Didn't play in either of the cup games this week, which wasn't a surprise. For reference, this is being recorded before the Arsenal-Chelsea game, so we're still yet to see if Kepa also does that for Arsenal. But for Donnarumma, 8.7% owned, 4.2 million in price, so a little bit more expensive compared to some of the other assets. Only 17 save points, so what you're losing in potentially save points wise, you're gaining with only 19 goals conceded this season. So less save points, but a higher chance at a clean sheet. 110 total points, 4.8 average points per game. And you'd assume he plays both doubles in Gameweek 20 and Gameweek 21 for Manchester City. Robert Sanchez, 7% owned, 3.9 million in price. Did miss the first part of Gameweek 19. We're still yet to be sure if he does play against Arsenal in the first leg of the semi-final. Will he return? I think he probably will. If not, those of you who do own the Chelsea backup goalkeeper, you've had a stormer this week. 23 save points, 31 goals conceded. So despite Chelsea not necessarily being watertight at the back, they're still a pretty good unit. Of course, under their new manager, Liam Rosenior, they might be a little bit more open, a little bit more attacking minded. So that is something to note. 115 points and 4.6 average points for him as well. And the last goalkeeper on today's list is Alisson Becker of Liverpool. 3.9% ownership, a very favourable double in Gameweek 20 with Burnley at home and Marseille away. 4.4 million in price, 16 save points, 21 goals conceded, 85 total points, and 4.5 average points per game. He missed a large chunk of the season through injury, and that is always the risk with Alisson. He does tend to pick up little niggles here and there. Another goalkeeper that tends to do that is Emi Martinez of Aston Villa. But as you can see, between Alisson, Sanchez, Donnarumma and Vicario, there's only 0.3 average points across the board. So do you want to go for someone cheaper, such as Vicario, who is a 1.1 saving on Donnarumma in value, or a 1.3 saving on Alisson? Would you go for the Donnarumma-Alisson combination, where they're slightly more likely to get a clean sheet, especially in the game weeks coming up? For me on this list, it's just about price wise. Vicario and Matt Sells both jump out and strike me as a very viable option, especially considering the average points for a goalkeeper are pretty similar across the board. For the defenders today, we've got a few potential risks, but some mainstays at the back for their defenders. We've got Cucurella of Chelsea, Frimpong of Liverpool, Miles Lewis-Skelly of Arsenal, Ezra Konsa of Aston Villa, and Malik Chow of Newcastle. Now, starting at the top, Cucurella, he didn't play in the FA Cup, but he will be back, we think, against Arsenal tonight. It was only a one-match ban for getting sent off against Fulham. 9.4% ownership, 4.1 million in price, 8 bonus points for the season, 20 tackle points, so a very front-footed defender. Won't surprise me if he got booked tonight against Arsenal. He tends to against Saka quite a lot. 116 total points and 4 average points per game. This might be one to potentially look out for. The new Chelsea manager likes to get his fullbacks forward into the attacking areas. We've seen with Cucurella, especially at the start of the season, he was quite prone to a flick on from a corner, getting an assist, getting a few shots on target as well. I think Cucurella's got a lot more potentially going forward as well than we've seen at Chelsea. So that is definitely one to maybe not for this week in game week 20, but one to note for game week 21 onward. If you want to go a week early, could be the option. Next up, Frimpong of Liverpool, 5% ownership, 4.6 million in price. So the most expensive defender on today's list. Only 5 bonus points, only 1 tackle point as well, 65 total points and 4.6 average points per game. He's been playing right wing in some of the fixtures for Liverpool, but you'd assume that kind of diminishes his role, especially with the fact that he's going to be playing at right back more than often than not now. That was difficult. With Bradley being out for the season, he is their best right back. Yes, they do have Joe Gomez to go there, but Joe Gomez is currently filling in as Liverpool's only other centre-back option, despite being linked with someone like Mark Guéhi. They've got Van Dijk, they've got Konate, and Joe Gomez as their options at centre-half. So Frimpong, for me, will play right back. He scored against Barnsley in the FA Cup. He's been picking up a lot of attacking returns, but is that simply because he's been playing in a more attacking role? Still yet to be seen, but 4.6 average points per game. There's a lot of unknowns with regards to Frimpong, especially with Szoboszlai as a potential right-back option as well. But when I watched him the other day, he was getting forward, and the final ball could be slightly better, and if that was the case, you'd see his points skyrocket. Now, next up is Miles Lewis-Skelly. This has a big asterisk next to it. I think he will play. Calafiori, we've been told, will be out for at least a couple more weeks. Hincapié, I think, will be more long-term, but we're yet to understand the full severity of his injury. And that would predominantly leave Miles Lewis-Skelly as the only left-back option, but he's been really poor. And we could see Timber at left-back and Ben White at right-back, but I think he has a lot of faith in Skelly. Yes, his performances haven't been what they were last season, but for 2.8 million, it might only be a 1 to maybe game week 20, game week 21, game week 22 at the most you'll get out of him, but that could be 6 fixtures. 4.2% ownership, 2.8 million in price. He is scheduled to go down again currently. Yes, he does still have the Chelsea fixtures to potentially get some points in the bank. 10 bonus points, 2 tackle points, 79 total points, and 3.4 average points per game. He's tempting me, I can't lie. I need to see the teams tonight. If he's in that squad again, does that mean they're protecting Ben White? Might be the case. But for Skelly, good price and in a good defence. Ezra Konsa up next. 3.4% ownership, 3.8 million in price. 33 bonus points for the campaign. So not only is he picking up the clean sheets at Aston Villa for their decent home form, he's also picking up lots of bonus points as well. He's got this sort of thing where he does at the back, where he stops still and lets the attackers bump into the back of him. He picks up lots of fouls, and that does definitely go towards the BPS. Total points 127 for the season and 4.7 average points per game. The only thing with Konsa is potentially Pau Torres and Tyrone Mings are coming back into that squad. So he's played a lot of minutes. He has been rested for the Europa League previously in the other fixtures. A few more options at the back. Will he necessarily get the doubles? I'm not quite sure, but he's a really good option if he does. And finally, Malik Chow, slim at the back, defensive-wise at Newcastle. Conceded 2 last night at home to Manchester City. 7.8% ownership, 3.6 million in price, 15 bonus points, 13 tackle points. So he's covering both bases on that front. 127 total points for the season. He's picked up, I think, 3 goals at least over the campaign and 4.4 average points per game. Newcastle do have 3 doubles over the next few game weeks in game week 20, 21 and 22, I believe. So he is another one that fits into that category along with Lewis-Skelly and Cucurella. So leave a comment down below on if any player on that list catches your eye the most. Midfield area is up next, and that is potentially the most stacked position currently in our squads in Sun Dream Team. There's not a lot of space for manoeuvre, but maybe one of these players on today's list can make their way into your teams if they're not already. First up, Pedro Neto of Chelsea, Cherki of Manchester City, Florian Wirtz of Liverpool, Harvey Barnes of Newcastle, and Callum Hudson-Odoi of Nottingham Forest. First up, Pedro Neto, 9.9% ownership, 4 million in price, 15 shots on target, 16 bonus points, 145 total points for the season and 5 average points. He's not necessarily the go-to midfielder when it comes to Chelsea assets. We tend to lean towards Cole Palmer and Enzo Fernandez, but Pedro Neto has been chugging along and just slowly picking up the points as the season has progressed. Once again, similar to Cucurella, how will he line up under Liam Rosenior? Still yet to be seen, but he did get rested in the FA Cup game. Next up, a player I am very surprised he is under 10% ownership. This week, brought him into my team. I was disappointed that I didn't captain him. He never really crossed my mind with regards to captaincy. And for those of you who did put the armband on him, you've done really, really well. And that is Cherki of Manchester City. 9.7% ownership, 5.7 million in price. I could have sworn he was over 10%, but he isn't. 17 shots on target, 23 bonus points for the season. He is a bonus points monster. Does remind me a little bit of Eze last season. 166 total points and nearly 7 average points per game, despite coming off the bench in a few cameo appearances. He missed a large chunk of the season and he's still the highest point scoring midfielder on today's list. So a really good asset there. Someone like a Semenyo has come into play now with him moving to Manchester City. Also Phil Foden, really good form at the start of the campaign. Slowly going out of favour, I'd say, with regards to our thoughts. So maybe Cherki is the one. Stable, but still very much in our teams. Florian Wirtz up next of Liverpool. 8.5% ownership, 5.5 million in price, 12 shots on target, 13 bonus points, 121 total points, which did surprise me. Thought that would be a lot lower considering how poor he was towards the start of the campaign, and 4.7 average points per game. Picked himself up a really good goal against Barnsley in the FA Cup. Yes, it is Barnsley, and that does have to be taken into consideration, but the way that he played in that game and the way that he's being integrated into that Liverpool team, he's picked up lots of points over the last between 4 and 6 game weeks. So Ekitike might be the flavour of the week, Szoboszlai, Frimpong, but Wirtz currently I think is being overlooked a little bit. Harvey Barnes, 5.6% ownership, 4.2 million in price. Will more than likely go up 0.3 in value due to his points in the FA Cup against Bournemouth, I believe it was, rather than his performance against Manchester City. 27 shots on target for the campaign. A ridiculous amount for a player that doesn't necessarily start every fixture for Newcastle. Lots of competition in the wide places. Got Jacob Murphy, who did go off with an injury last night against Manchester City. Got Anthony Elanga, who has performed pretty poorly for Newcastle since his transfer. And then you've got Barnes and obviously Anthony Gordon, who is yet to score an open play goal in what seems like forever. So Barnes, to me, is the most effective wide player that they've currently got. Does that necessarily mean he's going to start every game? No. But to me, they have to find a formation in that Newcastle side to get them both playing. And 156 total points and 5 average points per game for Harvey Barnes. Is he in our teams to stay? 3 doubles in the next 3 game weeks? I think he could be a really, really good option. And the final one is more of a punt on this list, and that is Hudson-Odoi. Picked up quite a few points against Wrexham in the FA Cup, so he's going to go up in price in 0.3, more than likely. 1.6% ownership, 3.1 million in price. 15 shots on target, so that is quite a lot. 14 bonus points as well, so he's picking them up on both fronts, unlike someone like Harvey Barnes, who is very much shots on target heavy. 112 total points for Hudson-Odoi and 4.3 average points per game. They do need a few more positive results in the Europa League to get through, so maybe he will go a little bit stronger. Sean Dyche, that is, with regards to team selection than he has done in previous rounds. I know as a Nico Williams owner, he's missed out on quite a few of the easier fixtures in the Europa League. But to me, players and stats on this list that really stand out: Harvey Barnes with 27 shots on target and Cherki averaging nearly 7 points per game. They're 2 statistics that you just can't look past. And to round off today's video is the attackers. The most trickiest part of the differential video consistently this season. Attackers bar Haaland and maybe Thiago, is rarely had any double game weeks at all this season, and the ones that he did have is barely appeared in both games in them, specifically when they're in a cup competition. So strikers compared to last season where we had Salah firing on all cylinders, Isak as well, Watkins, Haaland of course, and there was plenty of others across the season. It's only really been Haaland and Thiago at times this campaign so far. So Gyökeres up first, 9.4% ownership, 4.7 million in price, 17 shots on target, 8 goal involvements, 104 points in total, and 4.3 average points as well. Will he play? I think game time could be a potential thing for him where it's negatively impacted by Havertz and Jesus. We know he's going to be on some penalties, at least when he's on the pitch, but since he's come back from his injuries, looked a little bit rusty. Dipped below that 10% ownership threshold, perhaps for a reason. Ollie Watkins, 7.8% ownership. His form has really picked up in the last month or so. 5 million in price, 24 shots on target, 9 goal involvements, 119 total points, and 4.1 average points per game. The big thing for Ollie Watkins is currently, as things stand, he is the only striker on the books at Aston Villa. Daniel Marlin has gone to Roma on loan with an obligation to buy. They're yet to bring in. They've been heavily linked with Tammy Abraham to fill that void, but currently Watkins will be a 90-minute man until at least they get somebody through the door, and that is always one of the asterisks against Ollie Watkins. He always seems to have competition, whether it's Marlon, whether it was John Duran last season. But currently, he will get at least both games in the double. Whether that's coming off the bench is still yet to be seen. Cody Gakpo, 4.6% ownership, 4.1 million in price, 13 shots on target, 11 goal involvement, 130 total points with 5.2 average points per game. So he is the highest point scorer per game on today's list. He is normally on a slots man out on that left-hand side. Yes, Florian Wirtz has played out there since he's been injured. When Salah comes back into the team, Ekitike has just come back from his injury. There's 4 players, 4 or 5 at least, that go into 3 attacking positions. And to me, Gakpo, Ekitike and Salah are probably their best, most attacking front 3. Will Slot go for that? I'm not too sure. But Gakpo does seem to be his Mr. Consistent out there on the left-hand side. He did play up front for a little bit as well against Barnsley. That is something to note if Ekitike is still struggling with his injury. Next 2 on today's list are more what could be rather than what has been so far in this campaign. And that is Liam Delap of Chelsea and Dominic Solanke of Tottenham Hotspur. Delap, 1.3% ownership, 3.6 million in price, 9 shots on target, which is a fair old chunk. Only 2 goal involvements, 2 goals, I think that is Barcelona and somebody else. It's evaded me, unfortunately, but I know he got one against Barca in the Champions League. 38 total points and only 2.4 average points per game, heavily affected by lots of yellow cards for him. Will he be the starting striker in Liam Fresenia's Chelsea side? I think he probably will. But of course, João Pedro is there, and Chelsea, we know, have got a bit of money in the back pocket. Will they go out and get a centre forward? Who knows? But to me, Pedro seems to have the quality, but Delap has the physicality that Rosenior wants in a centre forward. And if he is picked as the starting striker for that price, I think he is a good player, but is another Chelsea wait and see, unfortunately. And as I said, Dominic Solanke made his long-awaited return for Tottenham against Villa in the FA Cup. Only 1 game and could be tricky going forward. That does indeed conclude today's video, the big Game Week 20 differential. Leave a comment down below on which player out the 20 selected today for this episode has caught your eye the most and maybe just made their way into your Sun Dream Team teams ahead of the deadline for Game Week 20. As always, my socials are down in the description below. We've got TikTok, Instagram and X, all that good stuff, so go check it out. Smash the subscribe button. We are really close now to 1,500 on the channel. Be a huge milestone, so would be greatly appreciated. Also smash the thumbs up button as well. 100 is the target for all Dream Team content on the channel. Now, thank you very much for watching today's video, and you'll be seeing me in a new one very soon.